Good morning. Welcome to Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. I'm sitting here with Grandmaster Muhammad out of Chicago. I thought you guys would benefit greatly by hearing him speak on the Masonic Order, where he see it, where it's been, where it's going, and where it should be. So without any further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Grandmaster Muhammad.
Good afternoon, family. The Masonic Order is a very ancient order. Where it is today is not what it used to be. What it used to be is not what it originally was. The Masonic Order, as we know it today, is an offshoot of an ancient African system that taught our ancestors and taught the world morality, philosophy, theology, and spirituality in the form of pictures, in the form of lessons, to make it easy for those who came into that order then to transform their lives and ultimately learn to become one with God. Through the Hebraic or Jewish tradition, becoming one with God was known as B'nai Or sons of light. In the Christian tradition, that's called, as we know it, Christ consciousness. From the Islamic tradition, we know that as becoming one with God as well. But the Masonic Order today, it's been affected by cultural change, and that cultural change has went from being a community standpoint now to being individualistic. But that individualistic thought has become a poison in the Masonic Order, because the Masonic Order was always about community. It was always about a collective mind, a collective society of minds working together for the betterment of not just one, but for the betterment of all. So what's necessary in the Masonic Order today, there has to be a revival. There has to be one or many who says enough is enough. We can allow modern culture to continue to poison the order that was originally set up to make all of us better human beings. It was not necessarily about degrees, although the degrees were there. It wasn't necessarily about titles, although the titles were there. It was about making yourself a better human being, and everywhere that you go, you were able to touch the lives of someone else and transform that life from whatever level they were on to a new level.
I use the term, Grandmaster, of added value.
Yes, sir.
So that means every time I rub elbows with somebody, I want to leave them better than what they were when I met
Yes, sir.
them.
And that's, Grandmaster, that's the true mission of Masonry. Adding value, as you said. We should never leave someone in the same condition where we met them. They should always be moved up to a higher level mentally or a higher level spiritually.
All right.
That's the true spirit and the true mission of Masonry, to transform lives. So we have working to it.
Well, now the other term I like to use is interdependency. I love saying that we are interdependent creatures. The car salesman is waiting for the manufacturer to make the car. Then the salesman is waiting for someone to buy the car from him. The mechanic is waiting for you to drive that car and break it. All so that everyone can feed their family. You bought the car so you can go to work to feed your family. So in other words, we're all waiting on somebody else to do what they need to do so we can do what we need to do.
Yes, sir.
Now, you just said something about as far as the individualistic mind and how it has crept into the Masonic Order.
Yes, sir.
What do you think we need to do to counter that, to get that out of our system?
I would say, in my humble opinion, it's good to teach ritual, but we have to now move beyond the ritual to see how that ritual, those working tools, those lessons, how can it be applied in our everyday lives? Because it can. What does it mean being perpendicular to the square in your everyday life? What does it mean using that compass to lay out your work on a trestle board? What does all that mean? So I, as a man, I'm 46 years old. I'm a father. My daughters are grown. But if I can't take those lessons from every house that I'm in to teach my daughters now, without teaching the hidden meetings that's strictly for our Masonic order. But if I can't take those lessons that I've learned in the lodge, those lessons that I've learned in the ritualistic work, and teach my daughters now, well, sweetie, when you come into someone, you should leave them in a better condition that you found them. We have to do that same thing in the Masonic order. We have to teach the young brothers, even the old, how to apply that to their everyday life. So now, as the young men that's coming into the order, they have their vices. We all have vices, but they are engaged in things that we know as older men. I have mentors that are old enough to be my father and grandfather in the order, that I am now 46. So they still teach me when I make those mistakes. You know, Brother Muhammad, man, we know you're a knowledgeable brother, but going down the road, this is what that activity is going to lead to. I've been there. So we have to, as older brothers, older men, reach back and help guide those younger ones to say, those activities that you're dealing with now, that you think is good, as you said earlier, it looks good, it feels good, it tastes good, it smells good, but it's not good in the long run. Mm-hmm. So as Master Masons, we are asked the question. You know, we have the 3, the 5, the 7. We have youth, manhood, old age. What does that really mean? So as a young Mason, you come in, you're in your 20s, early 30s, you're still a baby, you're still a young man. Now, as you're growing up, you can't continue to do those same activities as a grown man.
Oh man, as I heard a phrase the other day that said, if you chase the money, you don't chase the women, chase the money. Mm-hmm. Because if you chase the money and catch the money, the women will chase you.
That's correct.
That was not my motto in my early days. Mm-hmm. Chase women, chase women, chase women. But if you chase the women, you won't have the money.
You won't have.
So in the long run,
and I'm telling you, as a man with daughters, it costs money, and those are my daughters. So, and it's exactly as you said. We have to. Those of us who've been down the road before. Mm-hmm. You're older than I am. So I look at you as a father. I look at you as a big brother. I look at you as an uncle. I look at you as a mentor. Mm-hmm. And those under me, I look at them as little brothers, nephews, sons. So I try my best to give them examples out of my own life where I messed up at. And we have to do that to those who are coming up behind us. We have to go to war with ourselves. We all say we believe in the grand architect of the universe, regardless of whatever name we call him, whether Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Buddha, whatever we call him. We have to make a decision on if we're going to give in to a system. See, I look at the Masonic order as my own. I own this. My ancestors own this. This is our knowledge. This is our wisdom. This is our life.
I was introduced to a book called Stolen Legacies.
By George G.M. James, one of our great scholars. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And in that book, he goes into the histories of that knowledge, the Masonic knowledge, where it came from. He talks about in that book where Plato Aristophanes, Socrates. He talks about, in their own words, who their teachers were. The Negro priests of Egypt with the woolly hair, the burnt skin, the thick lips, the broad noses. These were the high priests and the scholars of Egypt that they went to Egypt and learned from. It was ancient Egypt who set up, as we know, as subordinate lodges or grand lodges in other countries, in Greece, throughout Europe, throughout Asia, throughout Africa, even over here in the Americas. Mm-hmm. These were lodges that were set up by the Grand Lodge of ancient Egypt. And the teaching was the same, although some of the names or the language may have been changed to fit that particular culture. But we now, today, we have to go to war with ourselves. We have to call on the God by whatever name we call him to say, to now take back what was once ours. Those of us who are parents, we don't just let our children go out there just wild, or we shouldn't. So the same way we protect our children, the same way we'll go to war over our children, over our wives, over our loved ones, we have to have the same passion and zeal to go to war over this order. So people always ask me, Muhammad, why are you always doing everything? Because this is mine. I'm not just a Mason when I go to the lodge. Mm-hmm. I'm a Mason when I wake up in the morning. I'm a Mason when I'm standing in the shower. I'm a Mason when I go to sleep at night.
So the young man that's looking to do something with his life, want to create something, want to be of value to others, what would you recommend to them when they look at the Masonic order or consider joining?
That's an excellent question. As a matter of fact, I'm a school teacher, so a lot of my students, they ask me that question, Ms. Muhammad, why are you a Mason, and how would it benefit me? I would say, as I said to them, and I'll say this to any young man who's looking at this order. This order provides a body of knowledge that will help you to grow into being a better man in stages. It's a worldwide brotherhood. I'm not going to say fraternity. It's a worldwide brotherhood, a worldwide family that connects you to men and cultures all the way around the world, where it puts you into an interdependent system. So as a Mason, I can compare Masonry to the human body. So some of us function as a brain. Some of us function as a heart. Some of us function as kidneys. Some of us function as liver. Some of us function as spleen. But Masonry is a system that, although there are separate systems, they cannot work efficiently without the others.
Well, look, I really appreciate you taking this time and educating us. You are certainly one of the admired grandmasters that I've met.
Praise God. Praise God.
Put you on the spot a little bit.
Go ahead.
As with everything else, everything on God's green earth works perfect.
Yes,
everything was created perfect.
Yes, sir.
Everything God created is good.
Yes, sir.
Until you add people.
Yes, sir.
Once you add people, all hell breaks loose. So, with that in mind, there's a lot of Masons are not satisfied, or Eastern Stars where they are for whatever reason. They don't see things going the way they think it should, or maybe they got into the wrong lodge or chapter.
Yes, sir.
They're looking for one thing, but the lodge and chapter are geared towards something else. What do you suggest to someone that is in an organization, in a lodge or chapter, that find themselves, let's say, disgruntled? How should they handle that?
Well, and Masonry, as with anything that we're involved in, it's what we make it. And we have to be mature enough to, whether we're Masons or Eastern Stars, we have to be mature enough to have those conversations with leadership to have those conversations with the other members, not being negative or being confrontational, but having an honest conversation with them to say, I came to this order for this, I came to this order for that. As my leader, this is what I need, and I look for you to help provide. But the opposite end of that stick is we have to be able to have those mature and honest conversations with ourselves to say, it's not masonry that's wrong or not functioning properly. It's possibly those who are administering it that may not be administering it in the best manner. We all, as you said, when you put humans in, everything on God's green earth is perfect. But when you add us to it, because we're complete yet incomplete, so we have issues, and we're going to make mistakes along the way. But we have to be able to have that honest conversation with ourselves to say, maybe this particular lodge or chapter may not be working what's best for me. But before you make a decision to go somewhere else, have that honest conversation. Well, at least give them that respect. Because as leaders, we may not know that we're making a mistake. We may not know that we've wronged someone. So as a leader, I would hope, and I always tell those under me, if I make a mistake, I'm not too big to say I'm sorry. But I won't know unless you tell me.
All right.
So tell me. Give me that opportunity to get it right. So
excellent.
Everyone, give your leadership that opportunity to get it right. Be man and woman and mature enough to have that hard conversation with them respectfully. And if it's not working for you, then it's okay. You make sure you did everything in your power to make the organization what it is and what it should be. And if at that particular time, then fine. Be willing to have that sit down with those in leadership and do what's best for you. But also make sure you're able to look in that mirror to say, I was not one of those who helped cause problems.
Sir, I want to thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been longer. I've been waiting for this moment for a while.
Yes, sir.
Thank
it's
you.
Always good.
All right. All right.